This podcast is brought to you by Customplan Financial Advisors, Inc., an independent insurance managing general agency in Canada. Financialpodcast.ca was developed with one goal in mind: to educate Canadians on important topics that affect their financial well-being and make it readily available to all. We welcome you to plug in and learn with us. If you have questions, please email us at contact@financialpodcast.ca.
Welcome, everyone, to Financial Podcast. I'm your host, Darlene, and today we're talking financial literacy, mostly because it's something that just doesn't get enough attention. Alphil is with us again today from the Financial Literacy Council in Vancouver, and they specialize in educating families and all different age groups on financial literacy. So a little bit more about Alphil. Alphil Guilaran is the co-founder of Financial Literacy Council. He is a lifetime qualifying member of the $1 Million Roundtable and the winner of the 2020 IFSE Institute Financial Literacy Champion Award. Founded in 1999, Financial Literacy Council is a boutique financial education and financial planning company committed to building financially literate generations. Their programs are delivered through family offices, corporations, and government organizations. Welcome, Alphil, and thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Darlene, for having me back on your podcast. It's definitely an honor to be back here with you today.
Well, we're sure happy to have you again. So some of our listeners will likely have clients with estates that they will pass down to their heirs, children, or grandchildren. Now, these people have worked hard and smart in building their wealth, and with the right education and understanding, the estate can last through multiple generations and possibly even added to it. This is the first of a 3-part series that will be spread over the coming months. We'll have another podcast in about 3 weeks geared towards financial literacy for teenagers. And then in August, we'll be discussing financial literacy for university students as they head back to school. So last time you were on the show, Alphil, we discussed in general terms the need for financial literacy across generations. On this podcast today, we're talking specifically about how to introduce and talk about financial literacy for 8 to 13-year-olds. So a lot of people think that, or they might think that 8 is a bit young to introduce financial concepts to, but you've started educating children even younger than that. Why is it important to teach financial literacy at such a young age?
Well, that's a great question, Darlene. And we believe it's important to start teaching financial literacy at a young age because the younger you start, the better off it will be for children to develop good money habits that they can build upon for the rest of their lives. In fact, studies have shown that how we handle finances is shaped by the age of 7. And this is according to early childhood development experts, such as Dr. David Whitebread from Cambridge University. Research has also found that how we manage money as adults is shaped primarily by how our parents managed and even talked about money.
I can believe that. So how do you then approach money management for children?
Well, because financial literacy begins at home, we recommend parents use a 3-step approach based on giving children hands-on experience with money, as well as open up dialogue so that money doesn't become a taboo subject within the family. And the goal is for children to develop self-control and patience, which are the basic building blocks of being successful in life, as well as with money.
Okay. So what are those 3 steps involved in your approach to money management for children?
Yeah, so step 1 is establishing a weekly allowance of $1.25 per year of age.
Okay.
So if you have an 8-year-old child, take 8, multiply it by $1.25, that's $10 per week. As for when is a good time to start, based on Dr. Whitebread's research, begin as early as 4 years old, as that is the time children begin to form foundational habits. I also want to highlight that it is important not to tie the allowance with doing chores. The allowance simply needs to be a benefit of being part of the family.
And, that seems like it's an important lesson to learn, and one that might be completely opposite to what parents teach their children now. So can you just expand a little on why it's important to not tie chores in with the allowance?
Yeah, it's important because you want to avoid your children developing the habit of asking you, so how much are you going to pay me every time you ask them to do something? So if that habit is formed as a child, it could ripple effect to when they're a teenager as well as when they're an adult. So that conversation is awkward at best. And so this leads me to step 2, which is divide the allowance into 3 jars with the following labels: 20% share, 20% save, and 60% spend. So you can go to the dollar store or even IKEA, get a jar such as this one, and then write down on the labels 20% share, 20% save, and 60% spend. And so using the previous example of $10 per week, have your child put $2 into the sharing jar, $2 into the savings jar for something that they're saving towards, and the $6 into the spending jar can be spent on whatever they want, but they can also choose to save some of that money as well.
So I find that really interesting because in today's world, and I'm guilty of this certainly, we don't often use cash. We pay bills online, we use debit or credit cards at stores for purchases, or we e-transfer money. So why is it important to use actual cash at this step?
Well, it's important to use real cash because if children can physically see it, they tend to understand it and value it more. So for example, it's hard to teach a child about a quarter or even a loonie if they've never actually touched or even seen a quarter or a loonie. Right. As well as we also want them to visualize reaching their savings and their sharing goals. There's something powerful as the coins and the bills start to pile up inside these jars that they know that they're closer to their goals.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and so this leads me to the 3rd step, which is give to charity when their sharing jar hits $100. So it's also important for us to teach children that with great power comes great responsibility, as Spider-Man's Uncle Ben would say. So it's important for children to see how money has a positive impact on the world around them. And so I encourage parents to make lasting memories with your children by researching charities in your local community and encourage your children to tell you why they want their sharing jar to go towards the work of those specific charities.
Okay, I love that lesson. Start early to gain an understanding of charity and how giving helps both the giver and the receiver. What would be the benefit to an independent advisor to help them increase the financial literacy of their clients' children?
Well, the benefit is strengthening relationships with your clients, as well as attracting new clients by being a trusted advisor in your community that bridges the generations. So it's important for your clients to look to you not only to grow their wealth, but also protect their wealth by preparing their children to manage their inheritances responsibly. So Andrew Carnegie is quoted saying, shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations, meaning that family wealth typically only lasts 3 generations because those who inherit money tend to not be adequately prepared to manage it responsibly. So don't allow your clients to be a statistic. Take action and make financial literacy a part of your practice.
And that's why it does seem like it's important that if families want their wealth to last through multiple generations, they, beyond that next generation, that they find a knowledgeable and skilled resource in financial literacy. So what would be an effective way for advisors to introduce financial literacy to their clients' children?
Yeah, so we find an effective on-ramp for advisors is using the RESPs they already manage on behalf of their client and their client's children. And you could use the RESPs to open up dialogue and create learning moments with the children. And so if you're an advisor, I encourage you to invite your client's children to join a part of a review meeting to explain things like the power of compound interest, as well as introduce them to 1 or 2 of the companies that their RESPs are invested in, whether you're using individual stocks, ETFs, or even mutual funds. So this will give the children an opportunity to increase their awareness of business, as well as the overall economy, as well as how to create passive income, which is helping them make money while they sleep.
Yeah, and that can be so important. But Alphil, you've been doing this a long time now. And I got to ask, what drives you to continue to educate this group?
Well, what drives me is that families are the basic building blocks of society, and it breaks my heart every time I hear or meet with families who are being ripped apart because of the lack of money or even the abundance of money. And so I believe that this cycle can be broken if we begin to teach and empower young children with the foundational building blocks of sharing, saving, and spending. And this ties into our passion at the Financial Literacy Council, which I co-founded with Bobby Ning in 1999, of creating a financially literate world of stronger families and communities through financial planning and financial education, because those two go hand in hand.
They really do. It's hard to come up with a good financial plan if you don't have a good understanding of finances. So, do you have any final thoughts for our listeners and viewers?
Yeah, so 2 thoughts. First, for the parents. So establish a weekly allowance of $1.25 per year of age and use the 20% sharing, 20% saving, and the 60% spending jars. And make it an arts and crafts activity, which is a lot of fun for the kids. So when you're setting up these jars. And for the advisors, build a bridge to the next generation to help your clients protect the wealth that you're helping them create. This will also help you develop a continuity plan for your practice by establishing trust with your clients' children.
Yeah, I can see that. How can people get in touch with you, Alphil, with you or with the Financial Literacy Council?
Yeah, so my door is open. If you want to continue the dialogue, you can reach me directly by email at alphil@flci.ca. That's ALPHIL @flci.ca. Or you're welcome to visit our website at flci.ca.
And just so everybody knows, all of his contact information will be on the website when this program goes up. So thank you to Customplan Financial Advisors for sponsoring this program. They are an award-winning managing general agency providing fantastic resources to the independent financial advisor. Look at what they have to offer at customplanfinancial.com. This podcast is now on YouTube and Spotify, as well as financialpodcast.ca. Sign up or subscribe to be notified of every new podcast. If you have an idea for a podcast or know of someone that would make a great guest, please send an email to contact@financialpodcast.ca. We'd love to have your feedback. Alphil, I can't thank you enough for coming on this show again. We've sure learned a lot, and I'm looking forward to the next ones, as I'm sure we'll certainly learn so much more.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Have a fabulous day, everyone.
The views expressed here are those of the participants and not those of Customplan Financial Advisors, Inc., its affiliates, or subsidiaries. This is not intended to serve as a complete analysis of every material fact regarding any company, industry, or security. This presentation may contain forward-looking statements. Investors are cautioned not to place undue reliance on such statements, as actual results could vary. This site and podcasts are for general information purposes only and does not constitute investment advice and is not intended as an endorsement of any specific investment product or service. Individual investors should consult with an investment professional about their personal situation. Past performance is not indicative of future results. If you are unsure about what is the best course of action for you in your financial planning, then we suggest you consult a fee-based independent financial advisor or get in touch with us to discuss your individual situation. Our phone number is 604-687-7773.